love is really simple.
Mhm.
Like love is so easy, but we make it
But just
so
know,
hard.
I'm him. It's really that
Serve a
simple.
purpose, bro. Like we here to do what our creator made us to do.
Welcome back to another episode of Never If, Always Win. And the message of this episode is to simply be more strict. And I chose that for this episode because as I was driving home last night, I was just reflecting on a lot of different things. In a lot of different situations that I put myself in that I knew I shouldn't have been in, whether it been a certain person or a certain thing, even a certain environment that I shouldn't have been in. I was just like, why?
Wow.
Why, right? Because
Right.
you knew that the environment or this individual wasn't beneficial for you in any kind of way possible.
Exactly.
And I really just sat there and told myself, bro, you have to be more strict. But when I was talking about it, I was simply talking about my presence, right? But as I was thinking about it even longer and even further, we have to be more strict with every single thing,
Everything.
not just our presence, but things we pay attention to,
Mm-hmm.
the conversations we involve ourselves in,
Mm-hmm.
all of that. Simply be more strict. And I'm going to ask you, like, because I know it's some times where you feel like you should have been more strict with your
Of course.
time and all these different things. So
Right.
I want to ask for a specific example. Just maybe just talk about an experience you had where you realized that that shouldn't have happened or you shouldn't have been in that situation.
Okay. Well, you like yours. I really agree with yours. Like even with people, you know, people really, whoever you allow into your space, it has the biggest impact on your life. And like, especially what you tolerate from people, the type of situations people can put you in. But if you wouldn't have involved yourself with someone you knew wasn't good for you in the first place, you wouldn't have been in that type of situation. And it makes you, some people don't take accountability and be blaming that person. Oh, you did this to me or this happened to me. From the jump, you allowed yourself to be in that situation by involving yourself or staying involved with someone that you knew you shouldn't have been dealing with in the first place. So that's why it's so important to take accountability and be more strict now with everything, people, your time, your energy, your ideas, everything. It's so important to be strict about it because if you aren't the person that's being strict on it, no one else will for you. So it's like you are in control of your own destiny. If you're not strict with anything in your life, anything that you want will not come to pass.
1000%. And even with that, because like when you're doing it or when you're in the moment, you really can't see it, right?
Right.
It's what happened after that already happened. That's when you really can see things clearly. And it's just like with anything, like because we say it all the time, like when you're really dealing with somebody, you look over so many red flags, you look over so many different things because you like this person and you want this person to be what you want them to be.
Right.
But sometimes they just not. Period.
And
Point
you
blank.
can't make it. You gonna hurt yourself trying to make someone be this made up image in your mind when it's not them.
Mm-hmm.
They're not gonna live up to it.
Right. And that's what it be. And you don't see that though, because all you like, oh, we had this conversation. If I keep telling them, eventually they'll maybe they get it this time. Maybe they get it this time. But if they don't get it the first time, and some things you shouldn't even have a discussion about.
Okay.
But if you have a discussion about something and they don't get it the first time, the second time, it's
no
over
point.
with.
It's no point. It's no.
And I know, but like I said, and we all been there where you just want this person to be that person, but they just not. And then when the situation ends, you just see everything that you just ignore.
Yes,
You just like,
what
why
was
was I even allowing this person around me?
Yes.
Period. And that's really what I was just thinking about. It was just so much that and it's not just one person. It was multiple. I was just like, come on, dude. Like especially when you know who you are, where you want to take it in life. These aren't the type of people you should be around ever. Period. Whether it be around them for lustful reasons, where you just thinking with your flesh, you thinking like that. That's why they're around, or other reasons where you want to know something, or messy, that kind of stuff. You be around somebody just because they know a whole bunch of stuff, where they can tell you something, or like you said, you see it on Facebook how the girls be talking about they're a hairstylist. They'll tell them they'll pay them to figure out something about their man, all that kind of stuff, knowing you shouldn't even be dealing around or dealing with this type of person. Period.
Right.
So, but the part like I said earlier, it's not just with your presence period either. It's with things you pay attention to, right? Because if you want to be in the 1%, or the people who are different, or the people who follow God in the right way, it's certain things that you just got to exile. You can't pay attention to. You can't have in your life period. And even with that, God to keep you from taking you from where you want to be, because you still around some of the same people. You still around some of the same environments. You still doing some of the same things. And you'll wonder why you still stuck in the same places, because you ain't separated.
Yeah, I saw this quote as well on social media where it was like, you would think, like they were saying, God gotta be like, it's not your season right now. When really it could be your season, but you just can't have those people around you, going to the same place with you. So it really can't. God really could just be waiting on you. He probably not making you wait. He just waiting on you to like remove yourself from these situations so he can take you where you need to go. It's not always he making you wait or you in the waiting season. Sometimes he waiting on you.
1,000%. And because God's timing is always perfect too.
Right.
Like if something ain't there yet, it ain't supposed to be.
Right.
Either you ain't passed the test that you was supposed to pass, or right now it's just not the time for you to get it. You might have to learn another lesson before you're ready. You might not even be ready for what you want. That's another thing. Like we want something so bad.
Yeah.
It was like, all right, why?
And you'll get it.
Exactly. And you squander it because you're not ready for it.
Right.
So sometimes, even with that, like when you sitting in the spot, you thinking, why God, I ain't got this. If I'm working hard, I feel like I'm doing everything I need to be, but it's just not there yet. It's not time for it to be yet.
Right.
Or you might have to look in the mirror and say, who do I have around me? What do I still involve myself in? That God may be saying, no, you're not ready for it yet.
Right.
And anytime you have to look at yourself and say, I'm the reason that this is not going away, which is 95% of the time it is you.
Right.
It might, like I said, it might sting a little bit, but it's beneficial. Once you do that and you analyze yourself and say, I need to stop doing this, I need to stop doing this, and actually have the awareness to know, that's when you start getting better with things.
True. Like this, I would say this, I say this year, but even just these last couple of months, I've really been sitting with myself, and it really hurts. Like I have my moments where I'm just hurt because I know like it was on me. I can't just put the blame on anyone else. Just say like it's important to it will sting like when you look at yourself in the mirror, because 99% of the time it's all on you.
Right.
Like you can't just continue to place the blame on other people, because in the end you allowed it. You placed yourself in it. You allowed it to continue, whatever the situation was.
Right. And that's why I was with it, right? Because then it's like it be a lot of times where you will know, like even when you get to the point where you know that you shouldn't be doing something, or you know you shouldn't be doing this. We say all the time, you will still do it sometimes, and that's when it hurt even worse. What make you even more mad? We like, I knew better beforehand, and still did it. Because like sometimes you might not know, and it just have you like, oh, I still shouldn't have been in it. But like when you know, even before you get into it with this person that you know for a fact that this shouldn't even happen, it's a different kind of stinging.
Right.
But I feel like it's also necessary too, because just knowing something is just the beginning. Like just knowing it, the awareness for it. We always say that's just the beginning. That's the beginning stages. It's not the end.
Right.
You still have to take the steps to do better and be better with everything that you learn and become aware with. So with being more strict with your presence, and of course, even with the things we consume, right? Like we like to laugh. Ignorance, whether you admit it or not, sometimes ignorance makes us laugh, right? Some other people do ignorant things, it gives us a kick sometimes. And it's just being, especially on social media, you see ignorant stuff all the time, and you'll catch yourself laughing at it. And sometimes, and it'll be sometimes I catch myself laughing at it, but then be like, bro, what am I doing? Like, why am I scrolling? Why is this funny to me? Why am I paying attention to these kind of things? And that's another thing I want to be more strict with. What I pay attention to, because I don't think we understand just how important the things we pay attention to, and how important our attention is to everybody. Right. It's the reason people put ads out. It's the reason there's commercials, all these different things to grab your attention. Right. So because when something has your attention, it has your interest, and when you're interested in something, you end up maybe spending money on it, paying attention to it. Well, of course, but spending money on it and doing even more things for it. So they know. All these big business and corporations, they know just how important your attention is. That's why they market things so well.
Right.
So we should look at it that same exact way as well. If they know it's that important, we should know it's that important. just how much these things we consume and we put into our brain, just even if we think it's just so small, it really is that serious. Because that little inkling can get in at the wrong moment and make you do something that you know you shouldn't be doing.
Right. I agree. Like, because just like our money is currency, so is our energy. Like,
Yes.
the way you spend your energy, it will.
I would say that's more important than money.
Right.
1000%.
Because the way you spend your energy, when you're just constantly giving out energy to the wrong things, what is your value? What is your currency that you're upholding for yourself? That's why I say it's very important on how you choose to spend your energy, on where you choose to get what you choose to give your energy to. Because in the end, like, you just constantly giving your energy to negative things, that's what your life will be consumed by.
Right, 1000%. And that's why it's hard for me to, because you know how people say all the time, just because I do this or that, don't mean I'm like this. But it's hard for me to, because I used to be in the same. I used to try to use the same excuse to myself, like just because I look at this or look at that, it don't mean I'm that type of person, or it don't mean that's this part of me, but it's a part of you somewhere. It may not be all of you, but it's a part of you somewhere.
Right.
And you want to weed out all of the bad, as much as the bad as you can. Period. Point blank. It ain't just, you can't just be 75% good and 25 and just be okay with the 25% bad. You gotta be wanting to get rid of all of it as much as you can.
Right.
So even with that, it's like I want everything in my life to be the best that it can be, 1000%, and to be the most righteous that it can be all the time. Nothing. I don't want to have no. I don't want to say in my head like, oh, I'm doing all this right, so I can just do this. No, all of it got to be out the door. All of it got to be right. All of it got to be the way I want it to be. Not just parts and bits and pieces of it. Not just saying just because I help this person or I do this great thing that I can go do this bad thing because the great thing I do make up for it. No, it don't.
Right. I agree. It's all important to just walk as righteous as you can, like in every area of your every area of your life. It's just important to be as righteous as you know how. And then it's all the time it's on us to learn more ways to be more righteous. So like, just because your ways of doing good things right now are like justified or good, it's always another way to do more good things. People think just because they've done these things that were just so good that, you know, it justifies anything else that is not so good in their life, which you just said.
Right.
I'm just expounding more. But that's why I just say it's important to always just find more ways to make your life more righteous. Like, just because you feel like everything is so good right now, it's always more ways to improve doing things in a more righteous manner.
Right. And I got a question, right? Because I saw something. It was like, well, I don't think it was a quote, but it was something on social media. It was like, if you've never question if you are a bad person or not, you probably are. Okay. So what you think about that? Right? Because like we all, before you answer the question, like, it's all been times where you feel like maybe, like if you try to be the best person that you can be, it's been times where you dealt with somebody or in a situation you feel like you maybe could have handled it better, or you maybe feel like you were wrong, or you hurt this person in a way that you didn't mean to. Like, have you ever been there, or have you always been like, I ain't never did nothing wrong. I know you ain't been like that, but I'm talking about like you ain't never been questioned if you were a bad person or not. I'm gonna answer after you though.
Okay. I do feel like I hold myself to a higher standard than most. So in any of my actions, I'm trying my hardest to, which that could be a good and a bad thing, because I used to do a lot of people pleasing. Like, I wanted to be this person that people just held in the highest regard, but I shouldn't have had to prove that to a person, you know. So I do feel like in most cases I was always in the right, but it have been some situations where once I was out of that people pleasing, you no longer exist to me. So it's like that could be a bad thing, because it's like, you know, I was showing all this love and this and this and this at one point, and now it's just like you cease to exist. Like, they could see me as like the most cold-hearted person in the world, but you know that's not the case. But I have had situations where I have to look in the mirror and be like, you could have did that differently, or you want to treat them like this because of how they treated you, you know. And that's
one of, because I say all the time, that's why, because like I said, I hold myself to a high standard, and I know the way I walk in my life, the standard is there. I keep it. Right. Like, I don't just hold myself to it. I keep it. So when I'm, especially when I have somebody in my presence the point we was just making when I have somebody in my presence who I know shouldn't be there and they act like they know that they don't know that they shouldn't be in my presence.
Oh my
God. It burns me.
Yes.
It really does. It bothers me. And I have to work on that.
Yes.
That's something I told myself I had to work on. Because if you didn't allow this person in your presence anyway, this wouldn't be an issue.
Exactly.
But when you allow these people who you know should be in your prison, period, and they act like they don't know that you that, it really bothers you so much.
And it makes you react off emotion because it's like, okay, if I'm treating you better than most humans that I've ever met in my life, and you just hold me to no regard, like you just disregard my feelings as if they don't matter, or my value or my worth as a person, like it doesn't matter. Okay, now I'm about to do this, which I don't want to do that. That's why I would just rather you just no longer exist. But you know, it's good. I'm working on that, but that really hurts me, and it makes me react off emotion, which I don't think logically off emotion. So
yeah, that's good. That's one thing that I'd be like, bro, I cannot believe that you play with me like this. It's like, but we all remember what we said. Some people just don't look at you. Some people, their interests and their values and morals on the line with yours, so they just don't look at you as you look at you as yourself. Because it's like, you got to understand that it's only some people, they want a totally different type of thing than maybe even what's best for them.
Right.
They looking for something totally different. So if they look at this, if they say that if this person they dealing with, they hold them to a high regard, and you look at this person like a straight bum, or you like how that happened, but mentally they might be in a totally different space, so they might look at it totally different. So even with it, like if somebody ain't looking at you like the way you think they should look at you, simply walk away. It don't matter. It don't matter how much you love this person or what. If they don't see it, if y'all not on the same plane mentally, it won't work. Period. Point blank. Anyway. So if you think you looking at yourself as this, right, with the way you walk, the way you've been brought up and taught, and they looking at it totally different. Like certain things, maybe what you bring to the table might not matter as much to them, even if but it might matter the world to somebody else.
Exactly.
So that's why like we said earlier, be with somebody who likes you, or be with somebody on the same level as you, and you'll hold yourself from a lot of stress. You'll keep yourself from a lot of stress
and heartbreak.
That too, because like even when I sit there and be like, I'm like, what? Like I said, with the point of somebody, this person right here playing me, then I tell myself, so this is who they are. Like I can't expect them to look at me how I look at me when they do these type of things, or they look at things this kind of way. So I just back off of it, then I calm down from it. But in that moment, I'll be like, nah, this ain't.
Yeah.
But that's something, like I said, that's something I really got to work on. Not allowing the wrong people to be in my presence. Periods, because it keep me from stepping out of character. Keep me from doing things I shouldn't do. And remember the question I asked you about about if I've ever thought about being a bad person or not. I've always knew that I wasn't a bad person, but I had to evaluate some of the decisions I made and ask my intentions behind them in this exact moment. Like, because like when you feel slighted, you might make a bad decision, or you might do something that goes against who you are as a person in that moment, because you're thinking emotionally over logically. So somebody will slight you, or you feel slighted in a certain kind of way, so you would do something to get back at them. And then you'll look back and like, nah, I shouldn't have did that. Because I've been there too. I was like, I shouldn't allow them to make me step out of character and do something that's not who I am. So but I've always knew that I'm not a bad person. I try every time every decision I've ever made was with the best interest at heart of the other person. I've never tried to go out of my way to hurt somebody. That's not in my heart. Period.
Right. I'm the same way. I'm just so big on love. I'm just so big on loyalty, and I feel like when it's not reciprocated, it just hurts me so bad. But of course, that's why it's just so, like we preach all the time, be with people who like you. It's just so simple, but so important. Like if someone likes you, if someone holds you in this high regard, you will save yourself from a lot of pointless situations and heartbreak, because it's like we often try to, if someone doesn't see us how we think they should, we try to make them see it, or we try to make them want the things that we want, but it's not going to happen. It's not going to work. So you're pouring all your energy into something that's never going to happen. You're just going to be drained constantly.
Right. Excuse me. But and there's and back with what we were saying, like if you be more strict, you will avoid a lot of these situations because you see that first sign that this person don't look at you or see you the way that you see yourself, you'll get up out of there. Because like I don't even want at this point in my life, I don't want to be. I've tried my hardest. I want to be around people who adore me, like who value me, who know who I am and value what I bring to the table. And I also want to be around people that I value and adore and value what they bring to the table. I don't want to be around nobody where I gotta question myself or like am I not what I think I am? I don't want to be in that space at all. I want to be around people who know. Like Reed is this, Reed is that type of person. I value these things in him and I want to be around him. That's the type of people I want to be around. I don't want to be around nobody that value all of this and they just around me and I really want to ask another question after that. And they just around me for certain things. They might just like this about me or like this about me. They don't value all of me. They only like these certain things. Because now, honestly, and I've also had to, I was thinking in my head, like, should I change my aesthetic? Like with the way I look. Because because even with the way I look, I got gold chains, I got gold earrings. You might look at me and think a certain way of me. But when I open my mouth and have a conversation, even at work, like like I said, like they'll ask me, like, they were like, I'm so glad you ain't in the streets or you're not doing this. I'm like, but I be wanting to say, like, bro, you don't know me, period. I've never been in the streets. Like, if I had a conversation with you, it'll probably blow your mind. But you just look at me and say, and that's what you think. You think I'm in the streets. You think somebody, or I've been doing this. So I had that internal struggle. Like, should I change my aesthetic? Should I look a certain type of way? Because, like, even with with certain kind of women, because I look this way, I might attract a certain type of women who like a dope boy or a drug dealer. Because maybe I have that aesthetic. So I've had that internal struggle as well, but I was like, nah, I'm not changing nothing about myself to try to mold or look a certain kind of way. To me, I'm gonna be unapologetic to me because when I bought my jewelry, it was never about no kind of state. I like gold. Period. That's all it was. It wasn't about. I wasn't trying to look a certain kind of way. I wasn't trying to attract women. Nothing. I wear these because I love wearing them. So that's why I was like, nah, I'm not changing my state. Period. Point blank. This is me. This is Ree. And if you don't value me for who I am, for this part of me, then the mental part of me, how I carry myself, you need to value all of that, period, point blank. And I'm not finna mold myself into this. I'm not finna try to wiggle around and try to have this right for this person. Then I also want to have this right for this person. No, it's gonna be me and me only.
Me and me only.
And if you don't accept it, you just don't, period.
I agree. I feel like I'm just like, cause me, the type of person, you can say the same thing for me because I'm the type of girl, I like braids to my knees. I like jewelry. I love jewelry, like chains. I love all that. I love the black aesthetic, of a black girl. Like anything, the nails. Like if I see a girl, she got long nails, she got long hair. Da, 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 da. Some people may see that as ghetto. They may see that as, like not you judging a book by its cover. But it's like someone who really like loves you and loves the same thing as you. You would never have to downplay yourself or change anything about yourself because you would just align. You would see things the same way. And so, like, I feel like with aesthetic is different for everybody. And it's like you can't just see a dude with a bunch of chains on and be like, oh, he's a dope boy,
exactly,
or something. Da, 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 because it's.
But it's very real though. People
is.
They do that. They do make that assumption. I catch people all the time looking at me sideways. But like I said, if you had a conversation with me, you pick my brain, I'm probably a lot smarter than you.
Right.
But you wouldn't think that though. You would just look at me like, oh, he one of them. Yeah. And that's why, like I said, that's why I struggle with it. Maybe I should change that. Maybe I'm attracting putting a different kind of energy out there from doing it. But am I really, or is it just those other people's internal problems?
Yeah.
Them problems that they have, assumptions that they have, stereotypes that they have. So I'm not changing nothing about myself.
Right. I think I've had that struggle as well, like with my parents, because it's like anything about me, like even working in like a corporate setting, it's certain things that's like looked down on, or like even as a girl, like I'm very intelligent, but like if you hear like some of the music I listen to, or like the way I dress sometimes, but that's just how I express myself in different ways. But like I'm so multifaceted to the point where it's just like you can catch me, I can quote you a whole book over here, and then I can rap you a whole T.I. song over here. So it's like, you just gotta, people people are just so different, and you just have to
Right.
like. I'm not the type to judge a book by its cover.
Right.
Maybe I should. I'm not the type of person to do that, but it's like, I understand
but it's character over everything.
Right.
Like character over everything. That's why I say I can have a conversation with anybody about anything, and then I'll make my assumptions.
Yeah.
After I have a conversation with you, learn the way you think on certain different things. I don't want to just look at you and just think, oh, this is what you are. No, it's not. It's not like that. Especially in this day and age where you can express yourself in so many different kind of ways.
Yeah.
I don't want to be that person that just look at somebody and just think that they that just because of the way they look.
Mm-hmm.
You will never know. Never. That's why I try to treat everybody with respect. Right. Everybody. If I even see somebody, even I say yes, ma'am. Oh, I don't say yes. I say yes, ma'am to everybody. Not yes, sir, but to not the people around my age. But yes, I say yes, ma'am to every single woman I see, cause like it's just to show respect. But I've also even then like before this, I used to do the same thing. Right, you used to see somebody or see a female that wear this or dress this kind of way and just think she that. Mm-hmm. Think she that. I used to do that as well. So it's like even now as I've grown, I can't really blame people for I can't say, oh, you just maybe I can because I've grown. And then a lot of these people who do that are a lot older, so maybe I can look at them a certain kind of way. But I try not to. I try not to look at somebody or a certain kind of way, maybe because they still think a certain kind of way, because maybe they just don't know no better. Right. That's the purpose of my podcast. Mm-hmm. It's to bring awareness to a bunch of different topics. Because I was brought this awareness by somebody else, by being in different environments, being in different situations. So I know I'm not the only one who might still think. I know I'm not the only one because I used to think that way, and I know this person not the only one because they continue to think this way. But we have to learn more. We have to be more aware of more, and eventually we just have to get better overall as a people. Period. Like if everybody on Earth got better every single day, the world would be a lot better place. That's why I don't think you can't ask one person. That's why it's hard for me to how they say if all the billionaires did all this and paid for the homelessness. It's hard for me to just put all that burden on one person's shoulders and say if this person did all this whole thing will go away. How about if we all got better? Just how much better would the world be if we all did more to help other people? If we all pitched in a little bit more, just how much better would the world be?
And even I say this, like people always think that being better is like a way to show, like it involves money.
It does not.
Or monetary resources. Being better is just showing kindness one day. Mm-hmm. Like I try my best to just show some type of kind gesture every day, because you just like people are literally on the verge of breaking down every day. And so like you can make the world a better place every day just by being kind, by showing a little bit of softness to a person.
Yes. And that's the point. Like when people I can't stand somebody who mean and angry, who treats somebody. If I go to a restaurant and you treat the waiter disrespectful, I can never look at you the same again. Yeah. Like I can't even respect you too much as a person no more, because I don't understand the need to be angry or mean to people for no apparent reason. Right. Especially if it's a waiter, they not the one who cooked your food. They're not the one who made your food wrong. Why are you taking out all this unnecessary animosity and pressure on them for what? Yeah. And but I've also learned that a lot of people who are like that, who go after people, who lash out at people all the time, who attack people, who talk about people all the time, they're dealing with internal issues themselves that they don't know how to deal with. Right. That they're not dealing with the right kind of way. They're not talking about. They're just going through with it and just blaming everybody else for everything that's going on in their life. Right. And they're not looking in the mirror at all. They're not saying, hey, what can I do to fix this? What can I do to get it better? They just say it's everybody else's fault. Yeah. It's everybody else's fault I'm in this situation. It's everybody else's fault I can't advance in life. Not mine, not nobody else's. So I'm just going to lash out at everybody. But it's not the right way to go about it, period, at all. So, and I don't think I've ever been that person. Mm-hmm. But even with it, I know a lot of those people. I know people that just mean, who just want to argue with people all the time for no reason, like for what? Yeah. Like, and then you just look at them like, something really wrong with you.
Like what's going on?
Something really wrong with you.
Yeah.
1000%. And I was about to pitch this question to you about with relationships. And I know we talk about relationships a lot, but we ain't talked about this part. It was like I don't want the person I'm dealing with to fall in love. I think my last relationship, I think that person was more in love with the idea of me than actually me. Like the idea that I was different from the rest, right? I carried myself in a kind of way, but I still I wouldn't. I'm not a bad looking dude, right? Mm-hmm. But I carry myself this kind of way, and I don't do what the rest of the ones that she had been introduced to did. So it's like it was just the idea that I was this type of dude that consumed her. It was not. It's actually me. Because after the situation was over, like you realize that like I'm pretty sure she probably realized we don't really didn't have nothing in common, right? It was just the idea of this is what she wanted, but it wasn't me. It wasn't me that she wanted to be that, right? Maybe not me that wanted to be that. It was just the idea, right? It was like, and then once you keep doing it and doing it, you realize that that's why when things end and then after things are over, you just see things in a totally different light. And I feel like that's what a lot of relationships are right now, because people got lists. They got the list. They want you got to be this. You got to have this. You got to make this type of money. You got to be 6 feet tall. You got to have this, and you have this whole list. And then once you realize you might get somebody who fits everything in this list, and you don't even like this person, you just fall in love with the idea. Period. That's it. And then maybe after a while, after you done already went through so much, you like, I don't really even like you. It's just you fit the image that I had in my head of what I wanted. So that's why I try, like, now it's really I don't have no, she got to have this. Maybe the only thing that I feel like I honestly require is God fearing and willing and ready to grow in every single area. That's it. Nothing else. I don't have she ain't got to be this. She ain't got to make this kind of money. She got to do all this. She got to fit all this box. She ain't got to check out all these boxes. If that's it, if she's God fearing and willing and ready to grow in all areas, I feel like we can work to be. She can work to be that person, because it's never just this person is perfect for you. As soon as you get them, you have to do the work. With everybody got some kind of issue that you may not be fond of when you're dealing with this person. You have to work and grow as one and get to that point where y'all eventually are ready for each other. But I think a lot of us, we go bad because we had this whole list or this whole checklist that we make, that this person got to be this. We want all these different things instead of just finding this person that who is willing to grow and ready to grow and coming together and becoming one. And while you becoming better, they doing the same thing. Eventually, y'all perfect for each other. It don't be perfect for each other from the jump. It don't start out perfect. Y'all build and mold yourselves into being perfect for each other.
Right. I totally agree. I think, and a lot of times, we often negotiate on things that should be non-negotiable. Like some people, like some things I'm just not willing to negotiate on.
Right.
Sorry, not sorry. Like, but that does, like, I'm not just gonna say that I'm not willing to grow with someone, because I'm always willing to grow. If you're willing to grow, I'm willing to grow. Right. I'm like, we will be a team. Like, we're growing together. But I do think that sometimes that idea that growing together, some people think like you just have to tolerate anything from a person, when that's not true. Right. Like, 1,000%. Some things are just I'm not willing to tolerate, or I'm not willing to negotiate on. But I'm willing to grow with you if you're willing, like if it's something that's not outlandish or something that's not just out of this world crazy. And because that's what relationships are. You have to be willing to work together and grow together.
But I think the issue is that a lot of people aren't willing to grow. That's why I say willing and ready. Like, it's a lot of people that are stuck in their ways, and they say, I'm not changing. This is me.
Yeah.
That's when the issue comes into play. When you're with somebody who continuously doing the same thing over and over, and you growing as a person, you getting closer to God, you becoming a better person every single day, and the person that you're dealing with is not doing any of that. Right. They're doing the same thing over and over. They're doing the same thing the world is doing. Everybody in the world is doing. And you constantly becoming a better person. That's when you grow apart. And that's why a lot of times when God He might keep you from a lot of blessings, because you're still dealing with this person, because you waiting on them to pick up the slack. You waiting on them to get to the level that you at. Yeah. But they just not doing it.
Yeah.
That's why they got to be willing and ready to grow.
Right.
Willing and ready to change any and everything about themselves.
Right.
That's when it comes into play. That's why a lot of people are with people that aren't willing to do. They're not willing to do that. You got to ask yourself, like, because if somebody is trying, if somebody trying to be better, they trying to grow, and when they not. Yeah. And you got to just stop lying to yourself. Stop lying and saying.
That's it, right? That's the key word.
Stop lying to yourself.
Stop lying to yourself.
Stop lying to yourself. If they keep doing the same thing over and over after you done already expressed your disdain for it, they not willing and ready to change.
Not willing.
They not willing for you. And that's it.
Another keyword, you. It just might not be you. Oh my
exactly.
gosh.
People. I would say it all the time. People, they do, and they do for what they want to do for the right person. So if you questioning, if you gotta, and I'll say another thing, like if you gotta question this person, question whether they like you or question whether they love you, they don't.
I saw this quote.
They don't.
I saw this quote where it was like, I think it's Maya Angelou. She was like, love can be many things because love is varied. Like it come in various forms. But one thing love never is unsure.
Yep.
Love is never unsure. If you have to question the love, if they like you, if you have to question it, they don't.
1000%. But that's the point. Like, and it's like, and we had these conversations about how people hurt us, but we hurt ourselves much more than anybody else do.
Right.
Because we ignore things.
Yeah.
We say, oh no, he did. You, and then when you, especially when you go tell your friends, you go tell somebody else, and they tell you the truth.
Yeah.
You're like, what? No. Yeah. You're like, I'm done, and you lie to yourself, say I'm done, but then they say a few words, and you right back in that situation. That's why I say we got to be more strict. You got to stand on them. You got to stand on them rules that you said. When somebody go across them boundaries or they disrespect your boundaries, you say, nah, this it right here. If you tell somebody from the jump, if you do this, it's a wrap. When they do it, it's a wrap. Stick to it. Don't keep giving them chances. Because you keep
going back on your word, and they're not
gonna respect you.
You don't respect your boundaries. How could they?
They're not gonna respect it because you keep saying you're gonna leave, and every time they do something, you don't leave. They're like, man, she ain't going nowhere. Right. I'm gonna keep doing what I want to do. She ain't gonna leave at all.
That's a word.
And it's gonna take. And even if you do eventually leave, you're gonna be endured so much pain and suffering just by you not sticking to what you said you was gonna do.
You preaching, okay?
Not sticking to your boundaries, not sticking to your standard. And if somebody don't meet that standard, do not try to pick them up to meet that standard. Don't negotiate. The standard is the standard.
Right. Stand on it.
Period. Point blank. That's why I say we do more damage to ourselves than anybody else could ever.
True. Not being strict.
And we say all the time, he hurt me. I done been hurt, but you really done hurt yourself.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, because it was something there that you ignored.
Right.
That you didn't. Might have been a stand that you was like, oh, maybe I can let him get by on this one. No, this is a standard. If you don't meet every part of this standard, it won't go no further, and it won't go past this. And if I tell you something, if I tell you this is my boundary, if this happens, this relationship is over. Stick to it. If they cross it, the relationship is over. Regardless of how much it hurt, it'll save you a lot more hurt in the end. Doing it, ending it right there, and enduring it. And when they see that you don't respect it, now they're gonna push it even further. They're gonna push the envelope.
It's so crazy because I just went through something like that where we both explained boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
Both. And this is my first time ever doing this, so I feel like okay, I'm a little mature. Like, we saying boundaries with the whoop. But once my boundary got crossed, I wasn't strict. I wasn't strict with my boundaries, which I should have been. I felt mature about setting them, but I wasn't strict on my boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
And so I should have been more strict on my boundaries because I could have saved myself months ago from the pain I feel right now. I could have saved myself from it months ago by being strict on my boundaries. Right. That's the word.
Yep. And like I said, that was the message of this episode. Just be more strict with everything that you do, with the people you allow into your life, with the things you allow your eyes to see, your ears to hear. Be more strict. Be more mindful of what it is, because it really is just that deep. Every little part of your life is that deep. Is that important?
Right.
It'll keep you from it, and that little small thing will keep you from advancing where you want to be. It'll keep you in that same little place.
Yes.
So, like I said, I love y'all, and be more strict.
Be more strict.
That's it.